It's your boy, the host with the most. I do not brag or boast, and I'm coming to you guys live from coast to coast. It's your boy. I'm Chris the Don One. Welcome, 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 welcome. Rate, comment, subscribe. Feel free to hit the subscription button, the notification bell. Share this live stream with your friends, family, as well as your followers. If you want to further support the channel, Don Squad in the house, stand up, salute. Hit the join membership button. Remember, membership has its privileges. I'm also on Facebook. You can check out my live streams there as far as the reruns go. I'm also on Twitch. You can check me out over there. Subscribe on Twitch. Subscribe on Facebook. My Facebook family, my Twitch family. Welcome, 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 welcome. My YouTube family. This is episode 122. I'm in the building. All right. So I got a couple of things I want to mention before we get into today's presentation. And I've been thorough on this. I've been, letting you guys know what's been going on, what's going to be going on in the next couple of weeks. So in the next couple of weeks, your boy's going to be on vacation. All right. I'm going to be traveling. So for the first 2 weeks, unfortunately, I won't be able to do Too Early for This podcast. Not if I have time, maybe in the car or out on the go, or maybe a light, maybe talking about one subject at a time. But I don't want to, give you guys that I'm going to be able to do that. But definitely won't be no Too Early for This podcast for the next couple of weeks. Feel free to check out my backlog of episodes of Too Early for This podcast. I got 121 different flavors of Too Early for This podcast. All right. But you can only check them out on YouTube. So subscribe and enjoy. Hit the notification bell. It's a playlist called Too Early for This podcast. You can just watch them all at your leisure. The third week, I should be coming back. But unfortunately, the way how I got it set up right now, you won't be able to check me out in that format. Maybe in a smaller presentation, but definitely I want to give you guys the heads up of what's going on with your boy. All right. So I know a lot of you guys been commenting, talking about I was gone for a minute. I was gone for a minute for like a couple of months, but I'm back. I uploaded maybe 3 or 4 live streams of Too Early for This podcast. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the stories that we're about to talk about, okay? So if you've been living under a rock, allow your boy to explain. Shannon Sharpe found himself in a sticky situation, all right? Basically, if you haven't been following the goings on of Shannon Sharpe, allegedly, we have to use the words allegedly, all right? Shannon Sharpe was messing around with this young girl. She was an OF model, and Shannon Sharpe, had a weird type of fetish relationship with her, and things sort of went south in this relationship. She said that he was very abusive. She's also saying that some not so nice things about Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe released a statement, also went on social media saying this is a shakedown. She just doing all this because she wants money. Text messages was leaked out, not only by Shannon Sharpe, but as well as this girl who's on OF. Now, there's allegedly an adult tape of Shannon Sharpe, messing with this girl on video. It's a corn tape. Shannon thought that they was going, Tony Bugsby as well as this girl was only going to release a small snippet of the video. And a lot of people thought that small snippet would be very damaging towards Shannon Sharpe. But Shannon Sharpe said on social media, no, it's 10 minutes long. Okay, I don't know why he would say that. Like that makes it okay. It's more acceptable. Whatever. Phone conversation came out. Shannon Sharpe saying some things on the phone. Allegedly, he was going to, choke her and things of that nature. Now, this is a weird type of fetish that we all later found out that it's like a dominatrix type of fetish. And a lot of people explain why Shannon Sharpe has this type of fetish, living in the South and things of that nature. Excuse what's going on with Shannon Sharpe and this girl, but it's a he said, she said. All right. Since then, Shannon Sharpe, after he released his statement, things went from bad to worse. Word came out that Shannon Sharpe and his legal counsel tried to reach a settlement with the girl. It was for $10 million. She was not buying the $10 million. When you got Tony Bugsby on your side, expect you're going to be seeking a larger paycheck. So she said no to that buyout. And that's when all this stuff came leaking out or floating out. TMZ, they know drama, things of that nature. And it gotten so embarrassing and so bad for Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe had to take a leave of absence away from ESPN. Now, a lot of people are assuming that Shannon Sharpe lost his job at ESPN. A lot of people also assume that the head honchos over there at ESPN say, hey, look, Shannon Sharpe, either you just retire or just quit, or we're going to fire you. Because, you know, ESPN is owned by Disney, and we all know Disney is a family-friendly organization, good, clean, fun, yada, yada, yada. And when it comes to controversies like this, you know, they're not, you know, culture with it, okay? Now, this ain't the only time Shannon Sharpe found himself in a bad situation over there at the Worldwide Leader of Sports. Remember, a couple of months back, it was the Instagram Live thing, and Shannon Sharpe allegedly hit the Instagram Live button, butt dialing. I don't know what happened, and you heard a whole lot of moaning and groaning and oh, Michelle and this, that, and the third. That was very questionable, and a lot of people assumed that he was going to lose his job on that situation. Now, they made it into like a little funny thing. He was kind of embarrassed by it. ESPN accepted the excuse at that time. They didn't forgive him. They accepted the excuse, and they thought that this was just going to be one and done. Well, a couple of months, here we are with the OF model. He's got messages talking about, well, she and he got messages talking about how much it costs to do some adult activity with this girl. I think it was like $100K for each cheek. I mean, it was just weird, bizarre type of things. And this is the type of stuff that ESPN don't want to be involved. All right. Now, Shannon Sharpe is a huge name in sports entertainment, sports media, sports personality. This is a big, big fish. Okay. Now, ESPN, Stephen A. Smith, and First Take, they already got Stephen A. Smith locked in the bag. He signed a $100+ million contract with ESPN. First Take was still doing numbers before they landed Shannon Sharpe, and they doubled and tripled those numbers. There's really no competition for First Take. First, ESPN could let go of Shannon Sharpe because Shannon Sharpe sponsors are, you know, kicking rocks. They're staying clear away from this because this is a horrible PR nightmare. You cannot flip this, you know, to the family viewing audience. Okay, I'm not saying the majority of Shannon Sharpe's audience is women, but it's a large portion of that audience is women, and a lot of women out there are not feeling Shannon Sharpe. Not only that, Shannon Sharpe made some statements about dating, you know, outside his race and things of that nature. A lot of women, a lot of Black women did not like what he said, but hey, they said, hey, look, that's his preference. If he wants to date that type of woman, fine, cool, fine, candy, whatever. All right. So you got that. You got the Instagram Live where he accidentally hit the live button. and now you got this. I mean, you got a whole heap of problems, and then a lot of stuff came to the forefront. We found out why he got let go of Fox Sports 1. A lot of us, including myself, thought it was a money issue. It was a contract issue. Come to find out, he was accused of, horseplay with another female. Fox Sports 1 decides to just let go of him, just fire him, because they don't want to be on the hook with him, because if this girl would have sued, Fox Sports 1 would have gotten had to pay a judgment, as well as Shannon Sharpe. So they say, hey, let's just cut bait with him. And now he's over there at ESPN. But at that time, when he was let go of Fox Sports 1 and went to ESPN, none of us knew why. Why would First Take let that go? Let him just walk away? Because at that time, Shannon Sharpe was the biggest personality on Fox Sports 1. Bigger than Skip Bayless, and bigger than any media personality that they got so far, even though they done got let go of Joy Taylor and Keyshawn Johnson. We'll talk about all that stuff later. All right. So here we are. Shannon Sharpe is in a lot of hot water. The possibility of him losing his job over there at ESPN is still on the horizon. Nothing has been etched in stone. Nothing has been in concrete. There's a possibility he could lose that job at ESPN, even though he got this girl to sell. All right. Now, a lot of people are saying the case was dismissed, and that's a huge win for Shannon Sharpe. That's what a lot of people are telling you. To that, I say this. It's a huge win for Shannon Sharpe, because no more mudslinging, no more embarrassing text messages, no more leaked phone calls, FaceTimes, and this alleged tape him and this girl was performing. And I also said this on my sports channel. Shannon has a weird fetish of showing his boys at home that he grew up with and went to school with. There have been talk that Shannon Sharpe likes to record himself in these moments with these women and show it to his boys, his hometown boys in Georgia or whatever. And, that's his kink. That's what turns him on and things of that nature. To me, when you somebody like Shannon Sharpe and you got a lot to lose, you talked about you was on the verge of signing $100+ million contract just on the podcasting landscape. You just signed a multi-year deal with ESPN. Okay. You got your own media company. You signed other podcasts under your media company. You got a partnership with Colin Cowherd and The Volume. You got a lot of stuff going on. And if this would not have happened, dare I say, Shannon Sharpe would have been in the big leagues, in the big fish with just the news of Fox Sports 1 letting go of their personalities. Could you imagine Shannon Sharpe picking up, I don't think any of them were good, but Shannon Sharpe's name was resonating as far as network media. He was, starting his own media company. He was very successful on Club Shay Shay with the interviews. Yeah, the nightcap. Life was good for Shannon Sharpe. Finally, Shannon Sharpe he betted on himself and he won. He's very successful in the sports landscape, and his name was even bigger than Stephen A. Smith, than Pat McAfee. He was up there with those media personalities. All right. So when you're in that type of situation, you got a lot of stuff to lose, particularly with scandals like this, or if you like to gamble, or you like to buy illegal guns, or, mess around with illegal drugs. You can't have yourself in those bad situations when you got so much to lose. All right. And you can't attach yourself to people that don't have nothing to lose. Even your friends, your friends are country bumpkins. They're just, your friends are working 9-to-5 jobs. Why are you trying to impress them in the first place? That's beyond me. Okay. But that's you, Shannon Sharpe. That's your life. You do whatever you want to do. But to me, when you got a lot of stuff that you can lose, you don't want to find yourself in situations like Shannon Sharpe is finding himself right now. All right. So let's talk about the dismissal. A lot of people say that's a W for Shannon Sharpe. And a lot of people are kind of stretching the narrative, moving the goalpost, saying, well, if the judge dismissed the case, then the lady, she must didn't have nothing. So Shannon Sharpe didn't have to give her anything. But people miss pieces of the puzzle. Because I remember last week when this was supposed to be, when they're supposed to be heading to court, there was talk that Shannon Sharpe, behind the scenes, Shannon Sharpe and his legal team and Tony Bugsby and this young lady were secretly negotiating something where they don't have to take this to court. Now, Shannon Sharpe's legal team in the beginning, before all this stuff came out, they was willing to give this girl $10 million to just stay quiet. And this girl was smart enough to say, I'm not cashing out right now. I got Tony Bugsby. I'm not cashing out on a funky $10 million. Particularly when you just told the world you on a verge of signing $100+ million contract. Not to mention the fact you got sponsors at Nightcap. You got sponsors at Club Shake Shake. You just signed a multi-million-dollar deal at ESPN. They're promising you your own show. All right. You also, doing commercials and things of that nature. All right. Why am I settling for only $10 million? $10 million funky dollars. Now, $10 million is a lot of money to me. $10 million is a lot of money for you people out there. But just think about what she's thinking about. This man is worth way more than $10 million. This is just a fraction of what this man is making. All right. So, word around campfire is they were secretly negotiating with this girl to make this go away. Now, if she turned down $10 million and she's asking for $50 million, and this is all estimating, no one truly knows what she settled for, but I guarantee you it's more than $10 million. It's probably not $50 million, but it could be $20 million. They could have just doubled it, $20 million, because it has to be an enormous a lot of money because of the fallout of this settlement. They didn't even report to court, allowing the judge to dismiss the case. Y'all just think that she just did it because she got her money? No, there's probably a promise broken or an agreement in this contract that she signed that, hey, you can't report to court. All right? You can't talk about this. And she also released a statement talking about she's retiring from OnlyFans. Now, she could still, I don't believe that's a decision that she made. I don't think that's a decision that Tony Bugsby made, but I do believe there was language in the contract in this buyout that says that, hey, you're going to have to quit OnlyFans because you're not going to profit off of what I did. And the less you're on social media, the better. He wanted her gone. So that way, no one can talk about this girl no more. No one can bring this girl up, and he can finally get back into the negotiation table and see if he can get that $100+ million contract just doing podcasts. He can't get the whole $100 million. He might have to settle for $80. he might have to settle for 60. But there is money on the table he can broker for. And he, talking to the powers that be at ESPN, she's no longer promoting OnlyFans. She's not in the news. Her name is not tied to Shannon Sharpe. Maybe he can get maybe he can keep his job at the worldwide leader of sports. I highly doubt it, but stranger things have happened. Okay? So, yeah. I'm going to read this article real fast, real quick. So, Shannon Sharpe Accuser announced retirement from OnlyFans after reaching a settlement in a lawsuit. Okay, now this is from Yahoo Entertainment. So if anybody in the comment section saying that, oh, I'm making all this stuff up, this is, you can clearly go to Yahoo Entertainment and you can read the article for yourself. Okay, just days after reaching a settlement in her SA lawsuit against Shannon Sharpe, Gabourey, I can't pronounce her last name. You guys know I butcher names on a consistent basis, has announced she's retiring from the subscription-based platform OnlyFans. Okay. Now she initially filed for $50 million against Shannon Sharpe in April 2025 under the name Jane Doe. Her lawyer, Tony Bugsby, confirmed the pair had a relationship. However, he alleged the Super Bowl champion was physically abusive, demanding, and controlling. Okay, which I believe all that because of, Shannon Sharpe this is not new to Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe was doing this way back when he was doing CBS Sports. All right. A lot of people seem to forget that. His name has always been tied to some bad relationship with a female. Okay. So the Super Bowl championship was physically abusive, demanding, controlling of her time and her body, which I kind of believe the time part and the body part, because I remember when Shannon Sharpe got into it with Chad Ocho, because Chad was a little late coming to Nightcap, and then then Shannon Sharpe made a big deal about him being late. Talking about you don't care if you're being late, you're basically saying to Shannon Sharpe, you're not taking this serious. You don't care about Nightcap. But if you was at ESPN, you'll be there on time. Okay. So, and I thought that was a weird dynamic between him and Chad. Now they try to play it off like it was no big deal. But when I initially first saw it, you can tell that Shannon Sharpe was kind of ticked off at Chad. And he basically suggests in so many words that, oh, you'll be late for me because I'm black. But when you go to ESPN, those corporate heads and Fox Sports 1 and the NFL Network, a lot of those networks are run by Caucasians. So you'll be late for me, but you'll be on time for them. What's up with that? All right. So that's what I initially got from Shannon Sharpe. And that's why when she came forward, this young lady came forward and said he likes to play these weird relationship type games, like, it's kind of weird to explain. I don't want to get in trouble, but basically he likes it. It's like the slave having a relationship with the slave master's daughter or the slave master's wife. Okay. It's kind of weird. But you got to, look, Shannon Sharpe grew up in the South, and that type of image is what's going on in the South. All right. How black people feel about white people, or black men feel about black or white women or white men. So, but anyway, Sharpe quickly responded to a lawsuit claiming he was a target of what's called Bugsby's shakedown, attempting to vow to sue the lawyer for defamation and try to take him down. I remember Shannon Sharpe saying that. Then in June 2025, Bugsby shared that both parties have reached a conclusion, added that the lawsuit has been dismissed with prejudice, and they respectively negotiated led to a mutual agreement upon the resolution. Although the terms of the settlement remains confidential, the sum appears to be substantial, as she announced that she's retiring from OnlyFans. Now, on the OnlyFans thing, that could be two things. Either Shannon Sharpe gave her so much money, she's saying to herself, well, I don't need to do OnlyFans no more. Or there's probably language in their negotiation, in their agreement, that stipulates that, hey, if I'm giving you this much money, I don't want you on OnlyFans. Okay. And, it can mean either way, or it can mean both ways, Shannon Sharpe Accuser teased there's more to come with her soon. And that's not the OnlyFans stuff. That's not a tell-all book, or she's going to give us the beans on Shannon Sharpe. I just think that she has other avenues she's going to try to pursue. She's probably going to be an influencer on social media. She's probably going to do YouTube, do vlogs of her trips and things of that nature, and profit off those things, But as far as her and Shannon Sharpe goes, I'm pretty sure there's language in the contract where she's not even supposed to even say his name or even talk about this situation. So for people out there that think that she's going to tell us what happened between her and Shannon Sharpe, that ain't going to happen. All right. So it's not going to be a tell-all book down the future, or she's going to sit down with somebody and talk about it. No, none of that's going to happen. All right. So she thanked everyone for the incredible support. I don't know what that really means. I guess people that follow her, and I'm just going to just end it right here. This is a whole bunch of stuff that, it doesn't make any sense. But the bottom line of it is, to me, Shannon Sharpe, you know that old adage, a fool and his money will soon be apart. And the one thing about, I remember my dad used to say this, what's worse than a young fool? An old fool. An old fool that thinks that he got it figured out. All right. And to me, that was Shannon Sharpe's issue. That was Shannon Sharpe's problem. And I said this on my sports channel. For Shannon Sharpe to attack a lot of professional athletes with their situations and their problems, okay, for him to ridicule those players, make fun of their situations, and talk about their situations like he doesn't make any mistakes, that's like living in a glass house throwing rocks, okay? For Shannon Sharpe to do all that, now a lot of people are questioning him, and they're really saying to themselves, wait a minute, you're going to talk about this player or this athlete doing something or losing money or being a simp or whatever, and you're the biggest simp out there. Again, I'm not talking about athletes that have alcohol problems or drug problems or find themselves on the wrong side of the law and things of that nature. But Shannon Sharpe notoriously used to just go in on those athletes, like and look at them like, what the hell were you thinking? Type of moments, particularly when he was doing Undisputed with Skip Bayless. He would tear down a lot of athletes, and those athletes that he tore down, after hearing this recent news about Shannon Sharpe, you have to sit back and ask yourself, okay, what was that all about? Was he really trying to, help me? Or was he trying to make my situation a profitable moment for him and a successful moment to him? Because a lot of these executives are looking at Shannon Sharpe going like, well, that's why we want Shannon Sharpe, because Shannon Sharpe is not scared to tell the truth. He's going to tell it like it is, to the I to the S, okay? We got to have that type of personality on our platform, all right? And we don't have to worry about Shannon Sharpe misbehaving or doing anything like that, okay? And come to find out, he's the biggest simp out there. He was the oldest and the biggest simp out there, messing with he just got outplayed. He just got outplayed. And Shannon Sharpe, he's old enough. He's 60. His daughters are old. His daughters are older than this girl. But that's besides the point. Shannon Sharpe should know better and just look at recent history, how it fared with other athletes, black athletes in the past. It didn't fare well for Mike Tyson and Robin Givens. It didn't fare well for R. Kelly. It didn't fare well for Diddy. There's some people that I'm missing, but when guys find themselves messing with women and they're thinking with their little head instead of their big head, and then they find themselves in these situations like Shannon Sharpe is currently finding himself in, you have to ask yourself, what was Shannon Sharpe doing or thinking? And all he has to do is just go down memory road of all the people that are finding themselves in this exact same situation, in these exact same troubles. All right. It's not worth it. It's just not worth it at all. Maybe in the 90s, you can get away with this type of behavior, this type of controlling and things of that nature. But times have changed, and they really have changed super fast. Okay. And you just have to move differently. Okay. And so someone like Shannon Sharpe, I can understand if Shannon Sharpe was 30, maybe 40. Okay. I can understand if Shannon Sharpe was, of that age. I can understand why he would want to be a bachelor. Okay. But at a certain point, you have to say to yourself, it's cheaper to keep her. You might as well just marry a woman and, just do it that way. A woman that is okay with what you're bringing into the bedroom, first and foremost. Because, messing with these OF models, these Instagram models, these strippers, you're going to get in a heap of trouble. You're going to get in a heap of trouble with these girls because, and I said this, when COVID hit, it affected everything. Not only, the quarantine era, but when the quarantine was lifted, a lot of people were struggling. And a lot of Hollywood athletes, a lot of athletes were struggling. Actors, actresses are struggling. Okay. The clubs were struggling. The strip clubs are struggling. And you have to get into where you can fit in. All right. So for him to think that this was okay, I don't know what he thought. That was weird to me. But hey, that's Shannon Sharpe. If he wants to do that, that's fine and dandy. But to me, that's not a good look. That's definitely not a good look for Shannon Sharpe. Okay. But we're about to jump into the next topic of discussion. It's the WNBA and what they decided to do. But before we get into that, if you are watching me on YouTube, rate, comment, subscribe. Share this video with your friends, family, as well as your followers. If you follow me on Twitch, subscribe to me on Twitch. If you want to further support me with bits or sending subscribers my way, I humbly appreciate that. And on Facebook, subscribe to my Facebook page. You know that you're going to get live streams such as this, as well as many, many more. Okay. If you want to further support the channel, hit the join membership button on YouTube. Remember, membership has its privileges. Okay. So moving on, we're going to go into the WNBA. Okay. So the WNBA on their All-Star game thought it was a great idea to come out in these t-shirts, and basically these t-shirts say, pay us what you owe us. All right. Which I like the slogan. I like the statement. And I like the fact that all of these players are united in this cause. And basically what this cause is, the WNBA players want to be paid more because they feel like they bring a lot of value to the WNBA. And they do bring value to the WNBA. But just because you bring value to something, you have to ask yourself, how much value are you really bringing? And I say like this: if you are trading a used car and it doesn't run, but you put rims on it, thinking that you're increasing the value, and you're thinking you're going to get more credit for that car so you can put it towards your new car, that's not a lot of value. The car, you can't drive the car. The car cannot run. But you put brand new rims on, all right? It has value, but it doesn't have a lot of value, okay? And that's what is going on with the WNBA. Now, there's an article that says that the WNBA, this is their consecutive where they're losing money and they're losing revenue. And since the WNBA has started, the NBA has been supporting this league, meaning if this league was on its own, it wouldn't be able to pay their players. It wouldn't be able to pay to run the organization and bills and etc. and things of that nature. Now, yeah, they do get sponsorships, okay? But some of the big time sponsorships are tied into the NBA. Now they do, have logos on their jerseys and they get money that way. But this could be $1 billion business. But if you're not making enough profit, then how much? And if you can't take care of yourself, if your league can't support itself, then how much value is it? You have to ask yourself, okay? One could argue. I love Angel Reese. I love Caitlin Clark. I think these two girls are going to be the cornerstones of the WNBA, where we're going to see more and more talented females. Particularly, we're going to see more and more females offensively that can put up buckets. Okay, because if you look at college basketball and you look at the current crop of the next 3 years of women basketball in college, it's only getting better. It's not getting worse. It's getting better. If y'all think Caitlin Clark is something now, wait until you see this new crop in the next 3 to 4 years. This new crop of talented women coming to the WNBA. And I think that's the purpose of the WNBA saying to themselves, the players saying to themselves, we have a very important product and we have talent that's going to be coming through the building, and we don't want to undercut that talent, but we definitely don't want to undercut our value. And I get it. And I'm for them. And I'm for Angel Reese, and I'm for Caitlin Clark, and I'm for the women of the past in the WNBA because they sacrificed a lot to get this league going. and I'm for the future of the WNBA. But I'm a fan of the WNBA. I'm not an investor of the WNBA. I don't own a WNBA team. All right. So it's great that we have spirit. It's great that we have love for the WNBA, but somewhere out there, there's someone paying for these bills, and they're saying that's cool and all that y'all like it and y'all dig it, but it's not making the money that we're putting in. We're putting in more money than it's actually making. Okay. In any other form of business, we would call this a bad business practice. Okay. We would say they're doing bad business. All right. You constantly put money into something and not getting, I mean, little to nothing back. That's a bad business. And in that dynamic, that business would be shut down. That business would be closed, and we wouldn't really care about it because we would say to ourselves, well, we ain't got nothing to do with that. We don't own that business. Okay. But when it comes to things that we love, we go, oh man, that's bad. I go in there every day. I buy product from them. I mean, I give them word of mouth. I go on social media. I share their posts and things of that nature, and they're still going to close down. Oh, it's heartbroken. Some of us have that type of mentality on businesses that we like or we go to that do us good. So we in return want to do them good. All right. In the WNBA, I love the WNBA. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it confused. But let's face facts and face reality. The WNBA isn't a profitable business. It just isn't. All right. There's a lot of reasons why. In the middle, it wasn't a good product. I think now it's starting to become a good product. I feel like once the product gets better, it's going to advertise itself, and more people are going to come into the arenas, buy season tickets, season pass, merch, all that stuff. Once the product gets better, all right? And when the product gets better and more people are involved in the product, then it becomes successful, okay? Because I'm pretty sure the WNBA can't wait for the day, they're not tied to the NBA. Like now, finally, they're independent. They can do their own thing. They can sign their own TV rights. They can sign their own sponsorships. They don't have to pair up with the NBA. You dig what I'm saying? So, yeah, I like the WNBA. Have no quarrels over the WNBA. I think the WNBA is here to stay, but there are some people out there that have issues with the WNBA, that don't like the WNBA, and that's fine. That's cool. That's dandy. All right. But there is a lot of men as well as a lot of women that loves this league and want to see this league be very successful. But we have to be realistic. We have to be realistic about things. Just because you love something doesn't mean that it's profitable. I mean, you can love something and it's still profitable. But to me, you got to show the naysayers, you got to show the other people out there that not only you have a great product, but it's a profitable product. And the WNBA has not demonstrated that. Okay. But like I said, I feel like there's a crop of females in the next 3 or 4 years that may change people's attitude about the WNBA. And, maybe the WNBA, hopefully the WNBA can turn this around. It's a very profitable league. Okay. So yeah, that's pretty much it. On my opinion on the WNBA. Moving on, I saw Superman. I like Superman. I like the story. I like the dynamic. I like what James Gunn is bringing to the DC universe. And I want to say this, the previous era of DC, I like Man of Steel. I like Batman v Superman. I like the Justice League. I like Wonder Woman. I like Aquaman. Now, Black Adam was okay. Blue Beetle was dead awful. Okay, but I like there was some good things they was doing, but the one thing, and particularly with Justice League, when they was when they thought that they was going to make a part two, and you saw the storyline part two at the end of the movie, and it would have been very interesting in that universe, by the way. But to me, Justice League, I mean, to me, that it was a great era and all, but I like what James Gunn's doing. And in the previous era, I don't think people say this a lot. I thought that was making the DC universe too serious. It was too much like Marvel. It was just it was a little too dark. And I felt like a lot of people didn't buy what Zach was selling in that universe. There was a couple of projects that everyone was effing with, but overall, I don't think a lot of people bought in to what Zack Snyder was doing with that era of that DC. And they made it too dark. They made it too similar to Marvel. And I felt like that's why a lot of people didn't attach themselves with the Zack Snyder verse. Now, Zack Snyder do have a fan base that wanted to see the Zack Snyder version of Justice League. I get that. But if you're a comic book purist, when you look at the DC characters, they were never perceived as serious type of characters. They did address social issues and things of that nature, but it wasn't sinister. It wasn't too sinister. It wasn't too dark. It wasn't the Zack Snyder ideal, even in the comic books of Justice League. Now, they dabbled on special editions. They dabbled and danced around the subject, but they didn't get that deep into it like Zack Snyder did. You can understand why with Marvel, the Avengers, Captain America, Iron Man, that mode fits better with Marvel. Being a little edgier, being a little darker, being a little bit more serious, taking things a little bit seriously. That works with Marvel. It doesn't necessarily work with DC unless there's like special editions or they're like on an alternate universe or whatever. But the most part, particularly with comic books on the DC side of things, it wasn't that sinister. It wasn't that dark. Okay. A lot of DC comic books remind you of Saturday morning cartoons. All right. I'm not saying that they were all the way playful, but that was in between being playful and being serious. It was like in the middle somewhere. Okay. But with Marvel, you understood why they went that way, because with Marvel comic books, they were always that way. Okay. So when James Gunn got introduced and he ushered in a new DC universe in his first movie, Superman, I like what he did with this project. I like what he did with Superman. I like what he did with Lex Luthor. I like what he did with Lois Lane. I like what he did with the majority of all the characters in that particular movie. I'm not going to go. I'm not going to tell you all the characters because there may be some people out there that haven't even seen Superman. But I like what they did with Superman, and they didn't make Superman too serious, and they didn't make Superman too funny, but they made Superman. They kept the character in between the serious side and the light side, the light humor, and the seriousness of Superman. He wasn't Henry Cavill Superman. He was more so Christopher Reeves Superman. Okay, little shy kid, country kid from Kansas, and I like that version of Superman. And because you got to look at it this way, Superman is the most powerful character, not only in DC, but in Marvel as well. And really, Superman doesn't have a lot of weaknesses. Okay, you want to use magic on him, fine. You want to use kryptonite on him, that's fine as well. But other than those two properties, there's not a lot of stuff that can kill Superman. So someone that invincible, you don't want to make that character super serious. Okay? Like Homelander. And that's one of the reasons why I haven't watched a single episode of The Boys. I've seen clips and stuff, and from what I gathered, I don't think I'm going to be getting jiggy with The Boys. Because that's the great part of Superman. Superman knows he's so powerful, but he'd rather use other things than his powers. And Superman, as powerful as he is, the one wish he wants, even with the Christopher Reeve Superman, the comic book Superman, the only wish Superman wants is to be human, like the rest of us. The rest of us, the whole world wants to be Superman. Superman wants to be one of us. He wants to be human. He wants to be accepted as a human being. That's what we get from this new installment of Superman. And that's why I liked the movie. It's making a lot of money. It's not making as much money as Jurassic Park. I get that. But when people bring that up, people seem to forget, Jurassic Park, the last installment of Jurassic Park, wasn't long ago. I feel like that IP is, having that IP, there's no way you can screw that up. With James Gunn, you have, with Superman done had a billion movies, a billion TV shows, a billion comic books. Okay. There's the origin of Superman is really not that spectacular. He was a baby, came from Krypton. They put him on a rocket ship. The rocket ship make it to Earth. The Kents become his parents, and they roll Clark Kent up, and he becomes Superman. It's really not a fantastic origin story. Okay, so when James Gunn, this new Superman, I like the movie. I think people, when they review it, they say to them, the first thing I hear from anyone's review is the following: oh, it's not like Henry Cavill Superman. It's not Superman Return. It's not Batman v Superman. It's not, and James Gunn has already indicated that this version of Superman is not going to be that Superman. So why, when you review this movie, the first thing that comes out of your mouth is, oh, this movie don't remind me of Henry Cavill when he was Superman? I don't get it. It's beyond me. But I like this Superman, and the way how they're going to set up the The next movie is going to be Supergirl. And I can tell Supergirl is going to be a little bit more edgier. And I'm going to go ahead and shoot this out here. She's going to have a Viking personality where she drinks a lot, she cusses a lot, she doesn't follow orders, she doesn't follow rules, she don't bow down to nobody, she does her own thing. Well, who that reminds you of? She pretty much going to treat herself like a god. Well, who that reminds you of? That reminds you a lot of Thor. And I think Supergirl is going to be similar to Thor with attitude-wise, personality-wise. Where Superman will hold back because he knows he's powerful, Supergirl's not going to hold back. I think Supergirl is going to be another hit for James Gunn, particularly adding different characters. And we're just going to have to wait and see on that, who they add. But I think Supergirl is going to be a great, great production. Okay. So that's pretty much it, guys. I didn't want to spoil the movie because I feel like that's not doing you guys any justice. Okay. I'm not going to spoil the movie. Matter of fact, when I'm done here, I might watch a little Sinners. Haven't watched it yet. I got the movie. Haven't watched it yet. Here's a great, great movie. I'm going to check it out. I know people are going to be in the comment section say, you haven't watched Sinners yet? Okay. Your boy been mad busy. I got a backlog of movies. All right. I did watch Superman. And I will watch the Fantastic Four. I watched Captain America: Brave New World, but I did watch that on Disney Plus. Okay. And the Thunderbolts. I watched the Thunderbolts in movie theater. So I'm pretty current with the movies I've been watching. All right. But nevertheless, I'm the best. And before y'all get up out of here, can you do your boy a favor? Can you do your boy a solid, please? If you're on YouTube, hit the subscription button, hit the notification bell, share it with your friends, family, and followers. Let's get my channel as well as this live stream lit in the YouTube algorithm. Because like I always say, the YouTube algorithm, it know of me, but it really doesn't know me. You dig what I'm saying? And if you follow me on Twitch, please hit the subscription button. Want to send me some bits, that's cool. Want to send me some subscribers, that's cool as well. But those two things are optional. Okay. And I'm on Facebook. Subscribe to me on Facebook as well. So that's 3 places you can watch me at. All right. So before I leave, I gotta say this one more time, one more again. All right. Next week and the week following that, possibly 3 weeks, if I do a live stream, it's probably gonna be a short live stream. But next week there's no more live streams because I'm gonna be on a trip. Well, it's business. It's a business, more business than a vacation. And then when I come back, I'm gonna be mad busy on the second week. So between those 2 weeks, I'm gonna try to squeeze in one Too Early for This podcast episode out of those 2 weeks. And then on the third week, it's up in the air. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but it's gotta get done. All right. But your boy's been mad busy. I do appreciate everyone that been waiting patiently for me to start Too Early for This podcast. I mean, people that watched episode 1 liked it, and you guys continue to flock in. The numbers are crazy. And I really do appreciate it from the bottom of my heart that you guys are watching. So it's your boy, the host with the most, brag or boast, and I'm coming to you guys live from coast to coast. It's your boy. I'm Chris the Don One. I will see you, just don't know when I see you. How about that? Check out my short, check out my videos. I definitely be having them uploaded. I'm up out of here. Deuces, guys. Thank you for coming by. Thank you. What? Why did I do that? Okay. Deuces. Thank you. Man.